Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're out here with little Arwen again today. And today we're going to talk about a type of goat that Arwen is not. So we're going to talk about fiber goats. She's not a fiber goat. Okay, Arwen is a fainting goat. They are not raised for fiber because they don't really have usable fiber. Hi. Can't ever get away from you, mister. But they don't have usable fiber. They just have regular old fur, like most goats. They are not a fiber breed. However, there are fiber breeds of goats. Okay, there are goat types that have fiber. Okay, they actually have wool. So there are different types with different quality fiber. Commercially, you will have the white Angora. Okay, because they produce, they're sheared twice a year, first of all, and they produce a lot of wool, and they produce it quickly. So the white one is because they're easily dyed. So commercially, if you're going to get into it on a large scale, you're probably going to want white Angoras. Okay, they produce that lovely Angora wool, and it's simply easier to have. It's simply easier to harvest. It's simply faster, and it's worth money because, and it's worth more money simply because of the amount of wool a single goat, we're not talking about sheep, we're talking about goats, but the amount of wool a single goat can produce. Okay, so it's definitely worth it. Commercially, it's the white Angoras you're going to find most of the time. However, colored Angoras are kind of in demand for hand spinning. So if you have an active hand spinning community in your area, you might want to raise the colored Angoras because they are really pretty. The fiber is just as good as the white. It's just colored. So if you have a market for that in your area, you definitely might want to try that. Thank you. Why do we always have to yell? Why do we have to yell? Because you're chickens. Anyway, there's also a smaller breed called a Pygora, which is an Angora pygmy mix, and that was simply to bring down the size of the Angora and to make it more suitable for small hobby farms. So if you have a small hobby farm and you still want a fiber goat, you might want to get a Pygora, which is actually what I'm looking into. I'm not quite sure what kind I'm going to get yet. I do want a fiber goat. I'm not sure what kind. I'm either thinking the Pygora or the Cashmere. I haven't quite decided. But Pygora is definitely on my list because they're a little bit smaller, a little bit more suited to small hobby farms. When it comes to goat fibers, however, Cashmere is the top drawer of goat fibers. It is the fiber you want. It is expensive, and it is fantastic to work with. So the American Cashmere goat is perfect for getting this cashmere fiber, and it's a beautiful animal, and they're gentle, they're fun. They can be, a little more difficult to care for, especially because caring for any fiber breed, frankly, you have to care for the hair, not just the goat. So you have to do a lot of grooming, a lot of keeping it clean, and a lot of eating my shirt. Yeah, I know. No matter how old you get, you're always going to eat my shirt. Yeah. Shirt eating bug. Anyway, so Cashmere is top drawer. It is beautiful, beautiful wool. It is great stuff that you definitely want to get your hands on if you can. And getting a couple of Cashmere goats, there's some money to be made there, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful animals, scratching your head. So they are absolutely gorgeous animals. They're not easy to care for. And they do produce less wool overall, so even though the wool is more expensive, they produce less of it because you typically only shear them once a year, where the Angoras, it's twice a year. Hi. So regular shearing is absolutely required when you have fiber breeds because they don't shed it out. They're not supposed to shed it out. They don't shed it out. So because they don't shed it, you have to cut it off. So it's not that much different than having a sheep. So if you're not willing to shear, don't get a fiber breed. Okay, just get a regular goat. All fiber breeds require regular shearing. The Angora requires it twice a year because they grow really fast. But the Cashmere, usually it's only once a year. So you kind of have to decide what you're after and then go from there. But it does mean that there's a lot more caring for the actual coat of the animal because you can't sell a wool that is dirty or mucky or gross. So you actually have to take care of the wool while it's still attached to the animal. So fiber is a little more tricky, simply because of that. There's a whole different level of care involved. If you're not willing to do that level of care, don't get involved in fiber breeds. It's not worth it. It's a lot of work. If you do want to do it, or if you are a spinner yourself, or you want to sell the raw wool to somebody, then you absolutely should do that because it's a beautiful, beautiful wool. Definitely worth the time. You can't get through there. You're too chubby. There's a reason for the chubby. Yeah. No, you can't get through there. Love you anyway. So, let's just talk about the Cashmere goat for a second because I forgot to mention something. Technically, the Cashmere goat is not a specific breed. It's a type. So, there are a couple of different breeds that fit into the Cashmere category. It's a distinction without a difference, really. Cashmere goats are cashmere goats. You get them for their fiber. You have to look after them in pretty much the same way because they all have pretty much the same fiber. So animals with cashmere coats, you're going to have to look after them. And even the Angora, they are a higher need goat. So don't get fiber breeds if you're not willing to do the work. But if you are willing to do the work and you definitely want the wool, you either have a market for it or you want to use it yourself, absolutely do that. Because it is a fantastic wool. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. We'll see you tomorrow.